threw away a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But
is your mask on upside down?
He's messing with him.
He's messing.
Where's your mask, Gary?
Gary, where's your mask?
It's in the other room.
Oh yeah, good. You're looking good.
You too, bud.
Yeah.
I think I like you better with the mask.
So I did, I pulled the little metal strip out of a disposable mask, and then I kind of stitched it in poorly, I might add, into the mask, but it kind of helped because of the glasses. Then I can, you know, kind of keep it on underneath. Yeah. So,
That's a good idea.
yeah, I saw Chris Peters recommended it. Rotarian Chris Peters recommended it on a video he did about mask wearing and making sure that the mask is tall enough, yada, yada. So.
I don't want to brag or anything, but one of the terrible parts of COVID-19 is having a small nose, as I do. And it's just so hard to keep a mask up sometimes without having some sort of thing to help it cover my face.
Well, you should have a nose like mine, and you'd have it.
Yes, my husband was like, "That's never happened to me."
You know, my oldest son is like 6'5". You know, he's a good sized human, okay? And he has a beard. And if you have a beard, the masks are kind of challenging. And so he loves the face shield. But he goes to Iowa State and they changed from any face covering to a mask. And so I sent him a Rotary mask because this one's a little bit larger and I'm hoping it might fit his face. But my husband actually looked on the Big and Tall store for masks. Who knew?
There's a niche. There's a niche there.
Exactly.
Yeah, beards are beautiful.
Well, if you find out a way to deal with masks and hearing aids successfully, I'd be glad to hear it. My audiologist says that's a universal complaint.
Yep.
And as far as the pinching across the nose, if you can find some pipe cleaners,
Oh, that would work too.
they're
Maybe
much
in
more
your
efficient in sliding them in, and they can be replaced very easily.
Right.
You can cut them to length.
Hot tip.
Hi, Felicia. How are you? Felicia is joining us from the Iowa City Partnership today, and she's going to help run our ribbon cutting. So can you just remind me of the order again, Felicia?
Kind of what we'll do is we'll have an ambassador speech, which Ryan Bell gladly accepted that to do as a little speech, since he's also an ambassador and a Rotarian.
Mm-hmm.
And then if anybody else wants to give a speech or any kind of like a personal comment about, you know, what you're working on, that's a great time for that. And then we will ready everyone with their ribbon and their scissors. And I will actually try and get the ambassadors to turn off their camera for a quick minute. And that way we can try and get everybody focused on one screen, because I know you guys always kind of span a few different screens. I'm gonna try and get a screenshot, but also since you guys are recording this, I'll see what I can do to get the best moment for everyone so we can share that picture out everywhere.
Got it.
And I'll do a countdown for everyone with the ribbon and the scissors, so that way we can all be on the same time when we cut.
Perfect. Perfect. So that does make me want to remind everybody, remember, go get your ribbon, go get your scissors. If you don't have them, now's the time to go get them so you can participate in our virtual ribbon cutting.
Oh, heavens.
Chrissy. Sorry, just jumping in. Are we all supposed to have ribbon?
Yep, if you can, everybody. We're going to do a big group image. And then Devin, you may want to make sure that at the time of the ribbon cutting, you move to gallery view for the recording, so that, and then maybe even do it once and then flip it to the next screen so that she can try to capture those two in the video.
Perfect. And if you're just coming in, if you could sign into the chat for the attendance, that would be great. We'll get started at 12:03, as is our custom these days. Precisely, about a second later.
Okay, remember everybody, we're doing a ribbon cutting. We're gonna join the partnership, so make sure you have your ribbon. I'm seeing some ribbons right now. That's perfect. So if you've got it, you can use a string. You can use some rope ribbon. So you're gonna need a ribbon and you're gonna need some scissors. Okay.
What do you have there? Oh, okay, that's just a very heavy ribbon there, Pete.
Perfect. Oh, and there's Tice in a conference room. Hey, Tice. Oh, and Christy's there too. Yay.
Need a ribbon.
Okay, you guys at Midwest One have your
We're doing a
ribbon?
virtual ribbon cutting, so.
No. How about some string? Like some string from your jacket? A lock of hair would work.
But no chunks, just one single lock.
Yes.
That's good, because I'm ready for the lock of hair.
Well, you also have 3 rolls of ribbon there, Chad. I figured I thought you would have something close to hand.
Ah, look, John. Yeah. Is that toilet paper, Dan?
It is toilet paper.
Nice.
Close, not mine.
That is creative. Okay. Who gets the Creative Video Award? Okay. All right.
You're just joining us, welcome. Oh man, it's noon somewhere.
Here comes another derecho.
None of that. Not funny. Too soon, man. If you're just joining us, though, if you could sign into the chat to help with attendance, that would be great. If you're a guest or a visitor, just put that in there as well. Welcome, everybody.
We'll get started at about 12:03, but this is just a reminder, make sure you have a ribbon, piece of cloth, rope, strand of toilet paper perhaps even, and a pair of scissors so that you two can join our, a rubber band, smart one. This is great. I love how creative our crew is. So that way everybody can join in the virtual ribbon cutting. All right, I'm getting an email here and there that different people are maybe coming into the wrong meeting, just a few. So, you know, we have that new update with a new link. So everybody needs to remember to go to the newer link and it should stay the same. That's my hope. Okay, it is 12:03. And so we're going to get started. Welcome to the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club. My name is Barb Thomas. I am your president for the year. We start our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you could, please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome, welcome everyone. It is great to see you all here. I'm going to give you one more reminder. Today is our ribbon cutting for the chamber membership. So I want to make sure that you have a ribbon or a string or any other creative item that you can cut. And I do think we have some creative options that are coming through. We have Dan Kinsey with a string of toilet paper. I think I saw somebody had a rubber band. Yep, Jim Down's got a rubber band. You know, there are options. So make sure you have something to cut and a pair of scissors to do it with. All right. So as it is with our meetings, just for those people who might be new to the club and to these meetings, I'm going to turn it over to Devin, and he's going to give us just a few quick Zoom tips.
Perfect. Thanks, President Barb. We'll just go over a couple of things. One of the coolest things that you'll probably want to do for this meeting is when we're doing the ribbon cutting, make sure to locate up in the top right corner. I'm not sure where it is in all devices. Check through your menus for the gallery view with the 9 little dots, or speaker view. And speaker view will give you the main speaker, but then gallery view will let you see all of your fellow Rotarians or fellow visitors. So especially for the ribbon cutting, that's a fun thing to do. Couple other things, you can go into participants to see who else is here, but also to raise your hand if you have an announcement or a question later on in the program. And then in the chat, there is an option to have a second meeting in there, obviously with chat, but also it would be great to have everybody sign in so that we can keep track of attendance. And then I will mute you ruthlessly if your background noise gets too much. So just know that if you want to speak up again, check out your mute settings. And that's it. Back to you, President Barb.
Great, thank you, Devin. So we are going to start our meeting out with some introductions, as we normally do. And so you are going to practice one of those little Zoom skills that we've talked about, and that is the raise your hand feature. So again, if you'd like to be introduced, if you're a guest, please make sure you go to the participants button at the bottom and raise your hand so that you can be introduced. And then I will turn it over to Devin to call on any of our guests. Do we have anybody brave enough to raise a hand here? Now I saw Tashaylin pop in here. Now Tashaylin, you got to say hello. Shaylin.
I'm here.
There you are. Okay.
To Shaylin from Shelter House, always Barb's guest, of course.
Well, that's great. Good to have you here. So we've got a chock-filled meeting. It kind of looks like we don't have any other guests who are raising their hands. So we're going to just keep on moving because we do have a lot of announcements today. So first off, I'd like to go to Tricia Smith because Tricia's with the United Way. There's been a lot happening in our community in the past 2 weeks, and I think she can provide us with a good update. Tricia?
Thank you so much, Barb. First and foremost, we hope all of you and all of your immediate and extended family are all safe and have weathered the most recent storm without too much damage, both property or any personal damage. This storm definitely kind of, layered our community's stress factors, I would say. But once again, I have to say, I just cannot tell you how impressed I am with our community and the outpouring support within minutes after the storm had come through. It was just truly amazing. So thank you all. Many of you have been a part of that, and we are so appreciative. I just kind of wanted to share what United Way is doing in relationship with Derecho right now. We have opened our disaster fund up and are supporting families in the community, some still without power, believe it or not. I know that Alliant and Mid-American and all the external crews that they brought in from across the country have been doing phenomenal work to try and keep everybody up and running, but we do have some people without still. We had a woman call in last Friday, a good example of, she lives alone, she's elderly. She had been surviving on literally Carnation instant breakfast and popsicles. The food in her fridge had gone bad. She's immobile, so she couldn't go out. She normally gets her groceries delivered. No one could get in. And so we were able to connect her with several different resources, including volunteers to remove debris, as well as to get her connected with a Hy-Vee gift card so she could order her food online and have them delivered as that debris was cleared away so she could be sustained again. And then also connected with some other resources that the state's offering for derecho support. So we have families like that that are living literally down the block, around the corner, and we want to make sure everybody gets the assistance they need. And so my action item to all of you is just to remind you that if you know of someone who is still in need of assistance, maybe they do have their power back on, but they're at the middle to the end of the month and they've used up all of their resources for this month, they need support with getting medications or a gift card for groceries, please reach out to United Way. You can call our phone number at 319-338-7823. You can find links to resources on our website at unitedwayjwc.org. And you certainly can chat me throughout the meeting. I'm happy to get all that information to you, and I will place those general contact informations in the chat window. If you're in need of a volunteer to help with tree removal or to help with any other debris that's still on your property, again, reach out through those communication lines. We're happy to connect volunteers to you, or if you're interested in volunteering, please reach out to let us know and so we can get you on that list of volunteers. And then, of course, if you are interested in making any sort of a gift that will go directly to victims of the storm, please feel free to reach out to myself. You can do it on our website, or you can simply text the word storm to 243725. Again, that's 243725. Just text the word storm and that'll prompt you through to a text to give option. You know, we're going to continue to be here. This is what United Way does. This is what we do best, and we will be here through this storm, and God forbid another storm, but we will be here no matter how it looks or what it is. We'll address it head on. So thanks, Barb, for letting us share for a moment. Again, I'll drop the information in the chat, but if you have specific questions, please chat me privately.
That's great, Tricia. Thanks so much. It is at these times that the United Way really shines, because they're on the field, like helping out, making things happen right away. So thanks to everybody at the United Way for the good work that you're doing. So as kind of a follow-up for the whole derecho storm report, we're going to ask for a first-hand witness. So our club Rotarian, Dan Kenzie, lives up in Marion and has had an interesting week or two, let's say. So Dan, do you want to just give us a bit of your perspective from the Cedar Rapids area?
Absolutely. Yeah, as Barb said, I live up in Marion, and it is it's been a very difficult last 10 days when the storm hit. I mean, obviously none of us really had a ton of warning or really understanding of what was coming at us. We're all from Iowa. Most of us are from Iowa. We've heard of severe thunderstorms, and I don't think very many of us even blink when that comes. So this hit hard and fast, and the Cedar Rapids, Marion area is just devastated. I think Cedar Rapids has lost over 50% of its canopy from all the tree damage that's down. There's over 1,200 families that are homeless from their homes being non-livable, and probably more to come. There's still people trying to figure out what's going on there. Hundreds of thousands of us were without power for days. I was without power until 8:30 last night, and finally got power, which is fantastic. I'm very blessed to have that. My home was damaged, but very minimally in comparison to others. Lost a few trees, but again, I mean, I'll take that every day rather than having a tree fall through my house, which happened to a few of my neighbors. So it's been crazy to see, but what I've been really encouraged by is the effort of all of our neighborhood and neighborhoods coming together and picking, as soon as the storm happened, let's figure out how to make sure that we're getting people help. And I mean, I've met neighbors that I've waved to on the streets that now we know by first name and have phone numbers to, and can call when we need things. I've had friends here in Rotary and Ambassador Group that have offered me shelter, and I just really appreciate that from all of you who have helped me throughout that as well. It's been very, very trying times. Cedar Rapids still needs help. Marion still needs help. We have lots of homes down in the southeast side of Iowa, or of Cedar Rapids, where the socioeconomic status is lower, and they don't necessarily have a lot of the resources that some of us might have to get people to come out and take trees out of their property and help them out. So the United Way of East Central Iowa has a lot of resources, opportunities for volunteering, that if you go to their website, you can figure out exactly what they need. There's a lot of childcare that needs people that need childcare. There are food delivery services that people need to get their food. And as I said, if you have chainsaws, we need people with chainsaws to come up and just tear debris out and get it taken care of. These tree services are great. The amount of lines people that are out busting their hump every single day is just, I mean, it's so encouraging to see the Iowa spirit, the American spirit, come together whenever tragedy occurs and say, let's make sure that we can get people help, but we still need it. So if you can, if you're able, if you're willing, come up, help, donate, whatever you can do. Let's make sure that we're all making this storm not as tragic as it was. So
great, thank you, Dan. You know, it's a tough thing, you know, to have this happen to our community, especially as we're all dealing with a pandemic. On top of it, we all wonder, like, what else could 2020 bring us? I don't think we want an answer to that question, because we want the answer to be nothing. But I want to encourage everybody to think about how we can help. You know, you've heard from the United Way and from Dan that there's opportunities for volunteerism if you're able to do it. There's opportunities for financial support. You know, at some point in time, there's going to be people who have been they've lost their homes. Some of those immigrant communities that we've been reading about, that their apartment complexes are gone and they are living in tents. So those people, one, they could use tents, but in time, they're going to need, you know, that extra pair of sheets you have, or household items and things like that. So, you know, be thinking about how you can help and how our club can help. And if you have ideas on how we can come together and do things together, please reach out to me or any member of the board so that we can try to make that happen. This is a tough time in our community, but we can make it through if we're all working together. And
I'll bring up one more thing too. Just as a point with the immigrant community, if you speak French, that would be, there's a lot of French-speaking people that we need help there. If you speak any language that's not English, there's probably some help that you can help with translating, just getting people to the resources they need. So.
Hey, Bob, this is Dimi Doreska. I wanted to add, I was there yesterday. I visited the apartments where the immigrants live, and I was collaborating with the Mercy Corps people. So I bought a bunch of beans and tots, and I'll be going there again tomorrow to help with the translation. So I speak Haitian Creole and French. And I didn't realize there was a huge Haitian population living in those apartments. So it is heartbroken. When I came here yesterday afternoon telling my family, my wife and kids, what I saw over there, I was born and raised in the Caribbean, and this is worse what I saw, over there. So I really encourage Rotary, however we can help, and those immigrants community. The apartments they were living in was in terrible shapes. And when I saw over there, they were still staying in those apartments despite no roofs, nothing. And kids were still keeping good smiles on their face, still trying to play and all of that. So yes, there is the need. And when you see something happening, something like this happening right here in the United States of America, and this is just inconceivable. And a lot of those people, they came to the U.S. as refugees, and a lot of them were staying at refugee camps. It's like they are reliving the same thing they were living when they were at refugee camps. So whatever Rotary can do to support them, and I'm an immigrant myself, and I was there yesterday. I'm going there again tomorrow. And gonna bring a lot of beans and suitcases and stuff and food. And please, Rotary, let's help those people, please.
Thank you, Dimi. I truly appreciate that. So just a little more reinforcement that we all need to be thinking about how we can help, and then kind of stepping forward and making it happen. And so I'd like to now go to Linda Farkas, who has an announcement about the Ronald McDonald House golf outing. Linda?
Well, before I go into the fundraiser, I think we have another person. I'm not sure she's on the line, but our fellow Rotarian, Heather Croskery, who is our champion at Ronald McDonald House, also lives in Cedar Rapids and has had many down trees and has been without power for a very long time. And hopefully she's back up and running now too. So with that said, I guess we're going from one sort of disaster area to another this year. As you all know, we have canceled the golf outing this year for the Ronald McDonald House. And that golf outing supported the Ronald McDonald House in a very big way. And it's been a tradition for 18 years. And the more, I always thought, I never paid any attention because I didn't golf. So I guess I never associated that I could still give money, even though I didn't golf, to the Ronald McDonald House. But now I get it. And I've seen what they do, and it's amazing. And they have going through their own times with COVID, because they can't just let everybody come back in because of the COVID virus. So they're trying to work around that too. What I want to reference is a way that we can all help make up for some of the lost money because we're not having a fundraiser this year. And I'd like to go through, it's like you can adopt a program. And Devin, thank you for putting this up for me. And Devin, can you scroll? It goes from $20, a toy for one child, and $35 feeds a family for a day. $75 covers one night for one family, and $150 provides fruit and vegetables for a week. So this really helps. Oh, and then if you really want to help, $350 operates a family room for one day. And it goes up from there. So you get an idea of you can actually adopt a program. And we have supplied the link. Thank you, Devin. We've supplied a link in the pre and post communications today to the meeting. So if you want the link, go to the meeting, pre-meeting or post. We will post it again at the end. And please, I know that I think we're all suffering through maybe a little bit of fatigue on what we're giving, but let me tell you, this is a very, very important piece and part of our Rotary that we usually give handsomely to every year. So with that, Barb. Thank you, President Barb, for letting me speak.
You bet. Thanks, Linda. So I do encourage you to support the Ronald McDonald House through this kind of unique program. We've all had to kind of think about things differently. This is a different way that you can provide support. Next, I want to go to Gary Pasha, who has an update on the food fight. Gary?
Thank you, President Barb. I was unable to get into the actual electronic tally being kept by the Community Crisis Center. At last report, this contest amongst the 4 area clubs has the Iowa City AM quite a bit out in the lead. In light of the previous announcements by Dan and the United Way and everything else, it seems kind of odd. I am again also saying, hey, please donate. But that is what Rotarians do best. And it's been my experience that we have always. I would love to see President Barb get a golden turkey because our club gave the most, either in goods or in dollar donations. That pales in contrast to some of the other things going on around us. But Johnson County and our surrounding area does have hunger. And one of the community food bank does wonderful work. I know from firsthand experience because Nancy and I both volunteer there. So they every time you give $1, 5 pounds of food are made available. So we have till the end of the month to try to top the other area clubs, get Barb a golden turkey. I read recently, probably something from a politician, feeding people is an act of love. And I think that we can do that by donating either food or dollars to buy food to our community food bank. Thank you, Barb.
You bet. Thanks, Gary. So I do see that Demi has put his address into the chat so that if people want to drop off items, he could take them up there tomorrow. So Demi, if you can, maybe like in the chat, list a few of those items that could be used so that we would know what to bring. That would be great. Much appreciated.
Will do, yes.
Great, thank you. So next, we are going to have an induction. Hooray. So the great thing about Rotary is when we have the opportunity to induct new members, and today we will be inducting the new member, Kim Casko. And so I have asked Ryan Bell, who is her sponsor, to do an introduction. Ryan?
Thanks, President Barb. I should preempt this with the fact that I'm one of many sponsors for Kim. She's obviously a valuable Rotarian and just a great human. So many of our club members have asked her to join, and I just got lucky enough to maybe ask her when the craziness of being a brand new CEO of the business partnership kind of calmed down a little bit. But to give you a little bit of info about Kim, she is the president and CEO of the Iowa City Area Business Partnership, aka the Chamber of Commerce. And they serve 800 member businesses throughout Johnson County and even beyond that. She grew up in New York. She's lived in 4 different states before moving to Iowa, hopefully forever. And prior to joining the business partnership, she had various careers in both the private and public sectors, serving as information technology consultant at PricewaterhouseCoopers. She was a career advisor at the University of Maryland, a change management director at the University of Illinois, and organizational effectiveness manager at ACT. So a lot of good quality experience has led her to being the CEO of the business partnership. If you get to know her, and I know you all will and hope to, she's super passionate about individual, team, organizational, just community development in general. She holds a bachelor's degree in management from Bucknell, which is in Pennsylvania, a master's degree in higher education administration from Northwestern. She resides in Iowa City with her husband, John, their adorable dog, Rocky, which I can vouch for, and enjoys anything food related, sitting on her front porch and planning with lots of spreadsheets and flip charts and all the fancy stuff that helps her plan how to navigate the business partnership. So thank you very much for joining, Kim, and I will turn it back over to you, Barb.
Great. Kim, would you like to just say a few words about what attracts you to join our Rotary?
Oh gosh, well, like Ryan said, I've had a number of people talk with me about Rotary. Actually, I think it was the Bywaters kind of very early on when I moved here, and like Ryan said, when I first took this job, it'll be 4 years on September 1st, and when I first took it, it was like drinking from a fire hose, and so I was careful about not over committing and really focusing on the organization. And when I finally thought I was getting my head above water, which was after we launched our new brand this past February, that's when I started talking with Ryan and was like, okay, I'm ready to do this now. And I just, I don't like to join unless I know I can really fully commit and be engaged. And so, at that point, it felt like the timing was right. And then COVID-19 hit. So our world is it's been crazy, but I guess there's never a good or perfect or right time, and this has been something. Rotary was critical in my life early on. When I was in high school, I was part of a leadership program and had to do a presentation, probably my very first public presentation to a local Rotary organization, which was just instrumental in my development. So it's close to my heart, and an organization I've been wanting to join for a while. So I thank you for welcoming me and having me, and I look forward to being part of this great group.
That's great, Kim. Well, you have been approved for membership in this club because we believe that you are a worthy representative of your vocation, you're interested in the ideals of Rotary, and you're willing to do your share, translating those ideals into action. Rotary is non-political, non-discriminatory, and non-denominational. Our impact starts with our members, people who work tirelessly with their clubs to solve some of the most difficult challenges in our communities. Our efforts are supported by Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation, which turns our donations into grants that fund the work of our members and partners around the globe. So when you become a member of the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club, you will be joining 1.2 million Rotarians around the world. And Rotary International uses the term JET to describe what we do so well. We join leaders, exchange ideas, and take action. So your challenge as a new Rotarian is to get involved, join at least one committee if you can, and bring guests and introduce them to Rotary. So I now invite our membership to welcome our newest member, maybe with applause, or you can use the applause or thumbs up reaction in Zoom. Kim, welcome to Rotary. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So one of the great traditions that we have started in our Zoom meetings is the Rotary moment of gratitude and positivity. And this week, we will receive that message from University Librarian John Culshaw. John?
Thanks, Barb. I appreciate it. I just need to give a quick heads up. Our telephone lines have been laying on the ground since last Monday. And of course, CenturyLink is here to fix it right now. So hopefully he won't cut me off in the middle of all of this. But when Barb asked me to speak today, I thought, well, this will be really easy because I'm grateful that after 5.5 days, our air conditioning came back on when the power was finally restored at 7 o'clock on Saturday. But I think she meant I should say a little bit more than that. And some of what I'll say today is a variation on a theme that you've heard from Dan and others today. So I hope you'll bear with me with that. You know, those of us at the university are preparing for the fall semester. Classes will resume on Monday for what will be a very unusual semester, to say the least. Classes over 50 will be remote instruction. There will be no Hawkeye football. As I understand it, there's going to be a virtual homecoming. So when I think about the upcoming several months, it's hard not to look back and think about what we've been through since March. We've had COVID. We've had the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others that led to the Black Lives Matter protests. And those are reminders of just how much work each one of us has to do in dismantling anti-Black racism in our society and community. Something you might not know about, in my world, we had a flood in the basement of the main library back in June. That's a story for another time. And then, of course, we had last week's Derecho. So how do we maintain gratitude and positivity after all of that? And I know that I'm grateful for a lot. I'm grateful that I was able to hold it together as a leader. And I'm sure many of you feel the same. I've relied on a tactic called the 4 C's to guide my communications over the last 5 months: clarity, consistency, care, and continuity. So of course, I'm grateful for the UI Library staff and for friends and family and neighbors and fellow Rotarians, really for hanging in there and getting through it all together. And I have to say, I keep coming back to the frontline workers, the healthcare workers, the grocery store workers and delivery people, the staff in my libraries who kept services going throughout COVID, the recovery crew that dried out the main library basement back in June. And that list really could go on and on. So last week, I was especially appreciative of the frontline workers in my own backyard. And it was Thursday after dark, last week Thursday, when these lights appeared in our backyard. They were sort of like big firefly lights. And turns out it was the tree crew. And they were coming to remove the trees from the power lines and the poles. And they were climbing fences and climbing tree trunks, using chainsaws and other tools to clear the lines. It was almost like a dance watching them work with those lights on at night. And the voices were all in Spanish. So my mind immediately turned to white privilege and equity. And I was thankful that they were willing to take on these risky jobs so that power would return for all of us. On Saturday, another crew showed up in my backyard to repair the power lines. Their appearance was just as mysterious, but all of a sudden they were there. And these young men came from Kansas. They arrived in Iowa via New York, where they had traveled to do similar work after Hurricane Isaias. They were going to the Quad Cities the next day, and they hoped that soon they would get to a planned project in Oklahoma. All of this so our utilities work. We are privileged, we are fortunate, and we should be grateful. So whatever your experiences have been over the last several months or the last 10 days, I encourage you to remain optimistic and positive and continue to thank those who help you. We are very fortunate.
Thank you, John. Great comments, and definitely words that all of us can kind of take to heart. So I do want to share something with all of you just quickly. So this has happened. See how we have these fabulous masks? So hopefully you all have received a special gift from the Iowa City Noon Rotary. And so I want to give you a challenge. I would love it if you would take a picture of you in your mask and send it to me so that I can create like this monster collage of all of these people wearing these fabulous blue Rotary masks. Okay, so you can find my email on Club Runner, or it's barbara-thomas-2@uiowa.edu, because I am the second Barbara Thomas here at the university. So take a picture with your mask, send it to me. And then on another note of positive news, which we all need in this world, is that one of our Rotarians has become a dad again. So that's very exciting news. Jonathan Brinson and his wife have welcomed Oliver on Monday. And I do think that Jonathan has called in. He doesn't have all of the ability to kind of video in, but Jonathan, we just want to say congratulations, and we're looking forward to the picture of that baby if we can. So lastly, we're going to get, or not lastly, but we're going to get to one of our special occasion today. And this is the time, everybody, grab that ribbon, get those scissors. It's time for the chamber ribbon cutting. So I'm going to turn this over to Felicia, who will kind of help us move through this. Felicia?
Yeah, well, thank you all for being a part of this and getting your ribbon ready. Ryan, if you have a few remarks that you would like to say on behalf of the ambassadors and being a Rotarian as well.
Yes, thanks, Felicia. This is a unique circumstance where I am a member of both the Iowa City Area Partnership Ambassador Crew and a very proud Rotarian as well. So I'm just really excited. I think we can use this partnership to broaden our awareness of Rotary out into the community and especially the business community. It can be something that helps us promote our Kerber Heart Safe initiative as we look to get AED terminals into as many businesses and public places in town as possible. And hopefully too, it gives us some return on our investment into that partnership by, again, making more people aware of what Rotary is and does, and hopefully some of those people, including a lot of my fellow ambassadors on this call, gets them interested in membership. So I won't say much else. I'll just go through what Rotary stands for really quick. It's called the 4-way test. And it's really the foundation of life, if you ask me. It's something that's very important and near and dear to really all Rotarians' hearts. So first of all, is it the truth? Very good question to ask. And anything you think, say, or do, is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And I think if your endeavor answers all of those with a yes, you can know that it's going to be the right decision and the right move in that direction. So I'll turn it back over to Felicia for the actual physical ribbon cutting. But again, we're very proud and excited to join the business partnership today.
Yes, thank you so much, Ryan, for those great words. Makes me excited to be a part of your call today. So what I will do is ask everybody to ready your ribbon, and I'm going to have to scroll through and get a few pictures of everyone. Luckily, screenshots make it quick and easy. So if everybody can pose and smile with their ribbon, and you might have to hold it for
this is a great time to go to gallery view to see all of us.
Yes, that is what I'm at. I don't want to have just my face on there for sure. And then you guys have 4 pages. This is awesome. I want to capture everyone's face if I can.
77 people.
Great. All right. And I hope I got everyone now. Okay. And then for our recording, we're going to count down and do this all together. So on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. All right. Welcome, everyone. You are now official members of the Iowa City Area Business Partnership. And now you guys can all get involved in everything that we do and all of our initiatives. And I really encourage everyone to check out our website and see what we're working on all the time, because I know you guys are all very active members of the community, and we would love to have more people get involved in everything that we are working on. So thank you all so much.
Great. This is great. The Chamber Business Partnership is a great organization, and especially because it really does help the businesses in our community. And I think we all know that the businesses have been going through a lot. And the partnership has been really, really busy with a lot of communication and workshops and webinars, trying to make sure that everyone in our community has the help that they need at this time. Kim, do you want to say anything before we move on?
No, I think just that I'm excited about this particular partnership. You know, I think there are a lot of synergies between our two organizations, a lot of similarities. When I was going through the orientation, you guys were founded, if I remember correctly, is it 1915? I'm trying to remember from my training. And the Chamber was founded in 1936, about 10 years after you. And I think for very similar reasons, you know, a group of business people wanting to get together to do more for their community. You know, just that service orientation and that bend. And so I think there's a lot of things that our organizations have in common, and there's a lot of great things we could do together. So appreciate you joining our organization and look forward to working together.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kim. And now we will move to our program where we will hear from one of those businesses that's had to be kind of agile and in the course of everything that we've been dealing with. So I'm going to turn it over to Anna Moyer-Stone, who's going to make our introduction.
Yeah, thanks, Barb. I am Anna Moyer-Stone, and I have the distinction of introducing our guest and our speaker today, Rebecca Fons. I am on the board of FilmScene as well, and Rebecca is the programming director there, which means that she is in charge of what you see at FilmScene. I had a longer little speech here, but to give Rebecca more time, I will just say I miss going to FilmScene tremendously. But one of the things that I miss most is seeing Rebecca as I walked out of the movie theater and having her say, "What'd you see? What'd you think?" And then being able to like talk to her about it. So Rebecca, have that.
Thank you so much, Anna. And I'm going to share my screen with everyone. I have a very short slideshow just to put some visuals. You know, film going and movies are a visual medium, so I like to kind of match it with my message with those images. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I do it correctly. Hold on one second. Already not doing it correctly. 1 second. And now I think I can do it. I did it before, so okay, here we go. Great. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to start play. Is that working? Great, great. So I added quickly a picture of me when I was in 3rd grade because Anna suggested that she's seen a picture of me as a small nerdy child, and that's always kind of a nice icebreaker. I'm a nerd, that's who I am. So you know, hopefully there's some fellow film nerds or some cinephiles there who are listening. So, you know, it's interesting to talk about movie going, you know, after some really impassioned words earlier on this meeting. You know, John spoke so eloquently about what we've all experienced in the past few months. And sometimes it feels like movies can feel sort of trivial, but I think movie going is really a good metric of the health of a country. You know, movies have been a place where people go to be together during times of war, during times of great financial upset, during political strife. And we haven't had that option during this time. And so even though movies are just movies, movies are a great equalizer. Everybody has a favorite film and everybody has a favorite film going experience. So movie theaters not being reopened and cinema sort of being in this time of challenge right now is really kind of indicative, I think, of kind of the larger challenges we're dealing with. So so think about your favorite film and your favorite movie going experience. Movie theaters will return and we will survive this time, but it has been really challenging. So I'm just going to kind of like talk briefly about what the film industry and organizations like FilmScene have experienced, how we've weathered the storm, no derecho pun intended, and then what sort of the future looks like. So I imagine many of you are familiar with FilmScene. Some of you maybe have never been there before. FilmScene operates 2 locations in downtown Iowa City, one in the Ped Mall on College Street, which is our original location with 2 screens, and then one new location, which is in the Chauncey building on the corner of College and Gilbert. And there are 3 screens in that space. So we have a total of 5 screens, and we are considered an art house cinema, which means We are a nonprofit. We operate ourselves independently. We're not a chain or affiliated with any large company. And we tend to show films that are slightly off of mainstream. We do show things like Little Women last year in 1917, but we also show smaller films like Vitalina Varela, which is a Portuguese film, or Premature, which was a small film out of Sundance that premiered earlier this year. So some of the films you may look and see familiar faces and famous people and films you're excited to see, and some of them you have to kind of take a chance on. But we pride ourselves on being more than a movie theater. We present education programs to ages about third grade through senior, and we host summer camps, and we do lots of community collaborations where we co-present films with different organizations. So it's a 365 days a year cinema, and I think each year we present about close to 500 films. So it kind of gives you a sense that there's something for everyone, and there's a lot of programming that takes place. And Anna is correct. I lead the programming team and make a lot of decisions about what you see on screen. It's a really fun job. I actually do what I got my degrees in, which is amazing. Most film people don't end up working in film, so I'm very fortunate for that. So, I've put some of these pictures with some headlines that you might have seen, because I think if you're not really working in the film industry, some of this may seem kind of, really kind of foreign to you and something you might not know what's going on. So similar to other industries in the arts, the Englert, Riverside, our mission is to bring people together in groups. And so obviously with COVID, we haven't been able to do that. What's unique to the film industry is not only did our patron pool kind of have to go away, but also our supply chain was really throttled. So I have some kind of 3 big films that you may have seen headlines about. So No Time to Die, which is James Bond, that was supposed to be released in April. We were gonna do a big party with it. We were planning it when it was moved. And then it moved to November, right around Thanksgiving. And it moved back in March. It moved about a week before COVID was really settling into the nation and how we were operating and closing things and making mask mandates and things like that. So it was sort of the bellwether. And when that film moved, it seemed sort of like a kind of an overreach. It seemed like they were overreacting a bit that they moved that film, but it actually ended up being, like I said, the bellwether. It was sort of the canary in the coal mine. And from Tenet came just huge shifts in the cinema landscape. So another film that's been kind of on all of our minds in the film industry is Tenet, which is a film by Christopher Nolan. It was supposed to be released on July 17th. It didn't move on the calendar. We were all actually, FilmScene was planning our reopening back in June based on that film. And then a couple things happened, as we all know. In June, cases started to rise across the country, especially in the Sun Belt and in the Midwest. And also Tenet moved back to the end of July, and then again to August, and then once again it moved to September. So these big movies, I was talking to someone and they were like, I don't really care about Tenet. Like, why should I care about Tenet? And I think it's because big movies like that really impact the rest of the ecosystem of the film industry. So we see reverberations. All the small films that you come to see at FilmScene that you love now are not being released either, because these big guys, these big ships, which are harder to turn, but they're making big changes on the calendar. And then of course Mulan decided to not go theatrical, and it's showing on Disney Plus. So if you're a Disney Plus subscriber, you just have to pay like $30 to see it, but it's going to be this beautiful film. And I encourage you to Google this headline, which is a promo destroyed after Disney release is planned. There's a movie theater owner who takes a baseball bat to one of those big movie theater promos because he's so upset that one of these big movies is going away, because these are our lifeblood. This is our content. So there's been a lot of kind of gloom and doom in the cinema world about, will we survive this COVID era? What do we do now? There have been many New York Times and other platforms have shown all of these different marquees. So this one I really love, which is the Uptown Theater, which is in Minneapolis, which is, I assure you, we are not open, and you're still here. It's Over, Go Home, which is from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which some of you might remember. And then the Iowa Theater is a theater that I also program for, which is in Winterset, Iowa. And that was our marquee sign for about 3 months. So movie theaters, it's like I said, it's really scary. We've had no content to show audiences. We have very limited seating available. So FilmScene's largest theater is 120 seats. when we reopen, we can have about 40 people in that space, maybe a little bit less. The margin is very thin. People aren't feeling comfortable purchasing popcorn, as I understand, which is understandable. So it's just really an kind of an untenable future, an unknown future. And there's been a lot of talk in the industry about, will we survive? And again, like I said, we will, but it's going to be a rough road of recovery. So what we've done, though, is that most art house theaters and most independent theaters have taken on different ways to be creative, to have revenue streams, but also to engage with our patrons. I think so many of the things we've done at FilmScene haven't been revenue generators, but we do them because we love cinema and we love connecting with audiences through film. So I'll talk about those in a little bit, but just to give you a general sense of virtual cinema has kind of taken the place of moviegoing. So during this time, distributors of films and independent cinemas like FilmScene got really creative, and we started taking films virtually. So you can go to our site, icfilmscene.org, and go to our virtual screening room, which is right on the main page. And you can see that we have, 8 to 9 new films on our page that you can watch from the comfort of your home. There's a little bit of tricky kind of mechanics in that these films take you to a third party, which is the distributor, and it's kind of confusing. You have to put your credit card in, and we sort of lose people in that way. So it's not a huge money generator, whereas, a film like John Lewis' Good Trouble, which we were so excited to open in the theater, would have made thousands of dollars. Instead, we made hundreds of dollars, very few hundreds of dollars. So it gives you an example of, like, this isn't necessarily a money maker, but these were 3 films, for example, Booksellers, John Lewis' Good Trouble, and the film Shirley, about the author Shirley Jackson, that I was really excited about to show in theaters. But we didn't lose them completely. We were able to show them theatrically. So virtual cinema, I encourage you to visit our website and browse around to see if there's a film that you would like to see, and know that for every rental you purchase, about 50% of that goes back to FilmScene. If there's something you want to watch and you're doing the Netflix scroll, which my husband and I do, we're just like, our food is getting cold while we're trying to decide what to watch, go to FilmScene and you can see a more curated list of films and support FilmScene through some of that programming. So FilmScene has participated in this virtual screening program, but we've also done some more community-based programming. So we've been doing curbside concessions, which is on Friday. We pop huge bags of popcorn, and I think Anna has definitely purchased some of these for her family, but they're these huge bags of popcorn. You can purchase candy, wine and beer, also soda, and pick those up with a safe pickup. We bring it out to you with masks and gloves, drop it off in your car, and you're on the road. That really supports FilmScene a lot. And also we started around May, we started donating $5 of every concessions purchase to a different organization. So we gave $5 one week to Shelter House. We gave $5 one week to an LGBTQ organization. I think it was Pride Iowa City, actually, the month of Pride. And right now we're giving $5 to the Greater Cedar Rapids Community Foundation to hopefully provide a little bit of funding to folks in need there. And we also did some bundles of popcorn to be delivered to Cedar Rapids directly. Again, it's what we do. We work in popcorn, so we want to give what we have in abundance. So we've done that. So that's something that you can do as a treat for yourself, but also as a way to support different organizations each month. And we call those Kernels for Kindness. And then we've also started doing private rentals. So I know I personally don't necessarily want to watch a 2-hour movie with a bunch of strangers, but I certainly would watch it with my husband, or if you have a family or colleagues that you're kind of in a bubble with already, you can come together and watch a film of your choice in our theater. And having recently watched a film in a theater, I was crying. I mean, I just started crying the moment the image came up on the screen, because just going to movies is such a part of my life, and it feels like such a part of normal life. And I imagine the first time I go to a restaurant and a waiter waits on me, I will start to cry as well. So I'm maybe just in an emotional place, but it's, it's nice to have some of that normalcy. So you can go to the theater, you can rent any one of our 3 spaces at the Chauncey, including a small theater, which is a little less expensive to rent. And if you're a FilmScene member, it's there's even more of a discount. And then, as I said, our virtual screening room has been really popular, a way for us to connect with the community through different films. We've done a number of virtual Q&As. We showed a film called The Fight about ACLU lawyers, and we did a virtual conversation with ACLU of Iowa and Little Village. So as much as we can, we try to kind of eventize those virtual screenings so that people can get a sense of why we programmed it. Sort of those, sorry, a door just closed. Sort of those things we would normally do at FilmScene, which is like a post-screening conversation and a panel discussion about a film. And then something we've been doing this month, which is really great, and hopefully some of you can take advantage of it, is we've been doing a program called Film Street, which is on Lynn Street by Goosetown and Oasis. That street has been closed for outdoor dining, and we partnered with the Downtown District, and we've been showing films on Friday night at sunset. So this Friday is Rear Window, and next Friday is Jaws. And we will continue that program in September. We're going to be announcing that lineup really soon. It's entirely free. There are sections on the ground marked off where people can sit, and the circles, I think they're squares actually, they fit about a family of 4 or a group of 4. Masks are required unless you're eating and sitting and eating. There's also picnic tables where you can sit and eat. And it's really fun to see a movie on the big screen. We did Jurassic Park, and we did Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Last week or the week before was Princess Bride. So lots of really, popular kind of classics from our childhood or from your children's childhood. So that's a lot of fun. And again, that's totally free. And then we also pivoted our animation camp, which is typically in person. We pivoted that to be totally virtual. So for the last 8 weeks, our amazing instructor has been going on Zoom with like 13 9-year-olds, and they have been learning how to stop motion animate over Zoom. And it's incredible. The shout out goes to the teachers, because he created this curriculum. Our instructors created it and have connected with these students in a really, really cool way. So there's hope for online learning, but we certainly will look forward to the day that we can bring those campers back in person. So we'll continue virtual animation camp in some capacity for the rest of the year, doing one-offs or, depending on what the community school district's offering something as a supplement for students' daily learning. And then we also launched a podcast. I think we were jealous of the Englerts' amazing podcast. So we launched a podcast with a patron who teaches in the music department at the University of Iowa. It's twice a month, and we talk about films in our virtual screening room, what we're excited to, and what we're watching at home. And it includes interviews with filmmakers and occasionally little clips and things from the films. And then sort of what's next, I guess, is the way I want to wrap this up. And I know there'll be questions, and I know I'm probably talking a mile a minute, but I want to make sure I get everything in. Film is, here to stay. There's lots of streaming and Netflix and Amazon and all of that. They are our competitors, but I think so many films really they require that movie-going experience. Certainly Jurassic Park is one of those. If I'd seen it on my laptop the first time, I wouldn't have that memory of seeing it at 12 years old in Indianola, Iowa, where I screamed my head off for 2 hours. That is a memory that you kind of can't replicate at home. But it is going to be a hard road, and we have seen a number of movie theaters closing. FilmScene certainly has been very fortunate with federal and private funding. And a really incredible team of people that have been patient and we're really working ourselves to the bone, even though we're not showing films in person in our theater. Different markets, New York, New Jersey, California, movie theaters may open there far later than they will in the Midwest. And certainly movie theaters are reopening the Midwest. The Marcus at the Coral Ridge is opening this Friday. FilmScene will be making an announcement about our reopening soon. But I don't want to say too much, but there'll be a little bit more time before we reopen, because I think as most of us are concerned about what's going to happen when students are back. And we just want to be really conscious of the public health situation. And we've seen interesting things where, Jurassic Park was #1 in the country again for the first time in 27 years because people were showing it in drive-ins and outdoor screenings. And we've also seen actors and directors kind of take on a hosting drive-in. So Michael B. Jordan, who you probably know from Black Panther, he's been hosting drive-in screenings in New Jersey. So people are getting really creative. People are surviving. It'll be hard to tell, especially as, the flu season comes, the regular flu season comes, and we enter into kind of Oscar season, what films will continue to move off the calendar. But I would predict, without much gloom and doom in my voice, because I'm kind of used to all of this, I would predict that movie going will not look the same for quite some time. Certainly 2020, but likely into 2021 until there's a vaccine. If you go to the movies, you'll expect, really limited seating, distance seating, mask wearing, all the things you've come to expect in other places. And I know FilmScene, we've worked very, very hard to make sure that when we do reopen, it's safer than, than we go above and beyond. But if you have an art house cinema like FilmScene that you really care about, and this is my little plug, that's my email. And we also have a generic email called better@icfilmscene.org, which is just if you have suggestions or questions, but you can also reach me directly. And that's our website. If you value movie going, or you want to purchase a membership now that you can use in the future, if you want to make a donation or suggest someone who loves movies to do so, it's really, really helpful. Just like all the other arts organizations in town and in Eastern Iowa that have just been devastated by COVID, and now some of them have been damaged by the Derecho. It's just a really hard time. And though we may get back to some sense of normalcy, those art spaces that bring people together to celebrate culture and be entertained, it will take longer for us because of our business model is bringing large groups of people to laugh and clap and cry together. And we just can't do that now. Certainly not the way we'd like to. So, consider what you can. If it's purchasing some popcorn, if it's, renting a movie, or if it's just coming to Film Street and enjoying a film outside with your friends and neighbors safely, all of those things just help us and keep our morale up, and also help our bottom line. So thank you everyone who's supported us thus far. I know some of our board members are on this call too, in addition to Anna. So it's really appreciated. And yeah, and hopefully everyone's watching really good movies. I know I've gone back to film school during this time. So
that's great, Rebecca. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to offer our members is that we'll kind of wrap up our meeting, but if Rebecca, if you're willing to stay for a little bit, that way after the formal end of the meeting, if you have a question or two for Rebecca, she'll kind of stay on the Zoom call and you can ask her. Rebecca, I wanted to let you know that thanks to you, in your honor, our club will actually make a gift to Rotary International's Polio Plus campaign. And that gift will actually be matched 2-to-1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And so our $10 contribution will become $30, and that will provide 70 vaccinations against polio. So, and we'll do that in your honor.
That's great. Thank you. That's great. And I'll hang out if there's questions. Feel free.
Perfect. So if everybody, you can unmute your microphones if you'd like to, and join me in the 4-way test. Of all of the things that we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill, better friendship?
Beneficial to all concerned.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. Watch for your email. We'll include the information on Deanie's address and some of the supplies if you'd like to bring them to him to take. Again, keep thinking of how we can help our community. And remember, send me a picture of you in your mask. So great. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Rebecca, we'll see if anybody stays on. I did see that Carla Kamal had her hand up at one point, but I asked her if she had a question and she didn't. Does anybody who's still here have a question for Rebecca?
Rebecca, I have a question. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
With the going to like a virtual platform for the films, what films do you think get the most like attention for like viewership, I suppose?
Yeah, I think it's so hard because normally like a smaller film will get a little bit more attention because like you come to FilmScene and you see the trailer or you see the poster and you're like, or you see some images and you're like, oh, this looks really great. With virtual, it's kind of hard to like get people excited about smaller films. And we found the films that have like any recognizable stars have done better, and also like recognizable like sort of content or stories. So the John Lewis Good Trouble film did well for us, and the Shirley film, which was about Shirley Jackson, and it's a writer town, so it was about Shirley Jackson and it had Elizabeth Moss in it. So those, I think people are like, oh, those are real movies, they're like, oh, I would eat popcorn and watch this, whereas this other thing, I've never heard of this movie, I've never heard of anyone in it. It can be really challenging. So so it's hard. I mean, in the virtual cinema, we've had some films where literally one person watched it. And I know who it is. It's like the one person who watches every single movie we show. And so it was like they read for $12 and like we got a check for like $6. But it's okay because, you know, sometimes we show movies theatrically and, you know, very few people come, but we program them because we really like those films and we feel like they connect with at least a few people in our community. So it's hard. The virtual has not been a saving grace, but it has, for me as a programmer, I've been so thankful that I can still program films.
That's great. Eric, did you have a question?
Yes, I was going to ask you, Rebecca, as a movie buff yourself, what are maybe some independent films out there that are great that maybe aren't mainstream that we might want to take advantage of?
Sure, yeah. There's one in our virtual screening room right now called I Used to Go Here, which is by a director named Chris Ray. She's based out of Chicago, actually. And you can see that like it's her third film, but it's really well done. And it stars a woman who was on the show Community and a guy who was from Flight of the Conchords. So there's some recognizable people. But the reason I recommend it is because it's about a woman who is an author and her first book is a flop and her book tour is canceled. So she goes back to her college town, which is in Carbondale, Illinois, but it's very Iowa City. And she's, you know, in the like sort of the writers group of people and sort of she's it's a kind of a coming of age film. It's very funny. And it just, I mean, I was like, this could be Iowa City. This could be someone coming back to, you know, Prairie Lights and like, you know, kind of reliving their glory days. So that one's really fun. John Lewis, Good Trouble, the documentary about Representative Lewis is wonderful. It's still in our virtual screening room. It's great. I mean, I think we all have a sense of how impactful he was and what an important part of our government he was, but to see archival footage of him when he's just, you know, 19, 20 is incredible. And he was the last surviving speaker from the March on Washington. And you just see this amazing footage of him and you get to know his family and you get to know him. And so it's really wonderful and also good for kids too. I know my colleague Andrew showed it to his 11 and 9-year-old and he said it was an education as well as entertaining and inspiring.
Anybody else have a question? Okay, great. Thank you, Rebecca. I really
Thanks for having me.
It.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank
you.
you.
Got to see a very full meeting.
I know, that was incredible. I did the ribbon too. I had my husband bring me some wrapping paper ribbon. I was like, we have to have some in the house. And you know, FilmScene will reopen. Like I said, we're going to make some announcements soon, and I hope that people will return. I know it's a sort of a scary thing to do, but we will make sure we can do it safely. And our virtual programming will continue. So if you aren't comfortable coming back to the cinema in person, we will still continue to have programming online because I understand, you know, everybody's got a different kind of point of view and safety feeling. So we'll continue to do virtual cinema probably indefinitely, which is great. And it provides access for folks who don't have a car or don't have, you know, public access, they can get to, or public transportation, they can get to FilmScene that way.
Great. Yes. Now, Rebecca, we do record this meeting. Is it okay with you that we put this on make it public on our YouTube channel?
Yep, totally fine.
Perfect. Great. Excellent. Well, thanks everybody. It's kind of nice to see like the smaller group.
An intimate breakout room, yeah.
Yeah. At some point in time, we're going to try to do rooms, we think. You know, Devin and I have talked about it because it's a great way to take like, you know, like our main meeting, that was 77 people, I think I saw at the top, you know. So it's, you know, to be able to kind of break them apart and give them a topic and talk about, you know, kind of fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it was great to see so many familiar faces. Hi, Bill. I like your arcade games. That's another event we couldn't do, but we'll be back.
That's the Donkey Kong that would be part of
I know. We were gonna do a movie with like all these arcade games in the lobby, but we'll get there.
It'll come eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Great. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye. Thanks for having me.